Hello, and welcome back to the Broker Power Up podcast, the AIME podcast for strategy, stories, and insights to help you close more loans. I'm Tommy Golightly, joined by Jonathon and Haddad. How are you?
Good, man. It is hot over here in
is.
Michigan. It's humid. It's 90 plus. AC's cranking. ACs are breaking, but we're doing great. Thank God.
And we have a very special guest with us, Christine Beckwith, CEO, founder of 2020 Vision for Success. How are you?
Hi, it's hot here too in New Hampshire. It's humid, and we've waited like 9 months for summer to come. So I've said no bitching about heat, and here we are. So it's
No,
hot.
I don't want to complain. Let me be clear. You're right, because going to the gym, it's way easier when it's hot out. I don't want to complain about the winters and the walking outside. So we're good. It's just a little humid. I'm a little uncomfortable. My hair does not do well.
I have some shine on. Where's makeup right now to powder my nose?
But I got back from Mackinac Island, Tommy, and it was awesome, man. But I got a little bit of color. Christine pointed it out to me, so my wife was a little upset by it. But it's good to be back in the swing of things. Good to be back, just on Broker Power Up, helping the community out. And I'm actually really excited for this week's fortune cookie. Believe it or not.
I mean, we do have a lot going on today. We have the Broker Buzz, where we're going to dive into the top posts of the Brokers Our Best Facebook group, discuss what's trending, what's working, and what you need to know. Then we'll go into the sales pitch training and a story time with Christine, which I'm super excited for. But first, as always, like John said, we have a fortune cookie. And today's fortune, if I can open it. No, my hands are sweaty because it's 96 degrees.
Don't sweat on our fortune.
No, my desk is a mess again. All right. Today's fortune. You will be able to find happiness in your family and relationships.
Yay. Yeah. I like that.
I love that.
Who wants to take this first?
I've been looking for happiness with them for all of my life, so I'm glad it's coming.
You want that one first? You want to start? What that means to you?
Yes. I'm sitting right now in a home that I bought 3 years ago to come home. Moved away, 38 years ago now, and didn't look back, and definitely didn't think I'd be gone that long. And the circumstances that brought me back were sad because I had an older sister that was and did pass, but I want to be near my mom and dad. And I joke, and I'm going to keep it really light right now, because I was always at a distance that they had to call if they were visiting. And now it's like, Corey and I will be downstairs watching TV and we hear, hello. And there's like somebody in the house. And we're like, who is that? And I'm like, it's my mom. And not that I'm a teenager, not that I'm doing more than like laying around watching Netflix, but, in the evening, yes, it's beautiful to be near my younger sibling, to be near my parents. I'm in locale to my son's universities, college. And, family to me is everything, and relationships to me is everything. And I will say this, I am, believe it or not, as public as I seem, I have a very, very small, close-knit circle of what I would call really inner circle friends. Of course, I have friends, outside the mortgage industry. But again, a small circle of people I do stuff with and have pretty much my whole life. And I call everybody in the mortgage industry my friend, but not to be too politically correct, because we already know I'm not. I have people I like, and then I have people I like and trust. And then I have people I trust that I don't like. And somewhere between those three categories are the people that I run with. And I think I attract really honest, authentic people. And I think I repel people who can't handle honesty. So I'll leave it there.
No, I love that. And I know the story is it's very deep for those that don't know. She's definitely open to sharing if you're willing to ask. So I know how deep that story is. Thank you for giving us part of it. And no, for me, that one, I do love, I've always, I'm a run and gunner kind of human being. So I wake up with just so much energy that I'm ready to run through a wall. And so slowing down has always been difficult for me. And call it an excuse, call it whatever you want to call it. It's just my way of surviving over the years. It's how I learned to survive was, people wanted me to be a workhorse, and it panned out for me very well. But my wife is so good at the little things, Lauren. Like they've been doing family meetings for years. They connect with the family all the time. They do family gatherings constantly. And it wasn't stuff that I was always I wasn't doing it, just flat out. I just wasn't doing it at all. We did it growing up, but I just completely stopped and ran away from it. So having kids now, having her in my corner, it's been really nice. Like even going to Mackinac Island, I just talked about it. Like I did disconnect. I didn't reply to my phone at all. Well, Thursday I did, but Friday and Saturday I didn't.
Yeah.
And I was good with it. Like I had the stress still there, but when we got back, like the kids loved it. We had great pictures. I videotaped it. One of the challenges, this was really cool, and that's why I love this fortune. But my mom was saying, back in the 90s, if we watched some of our VHS tapes, you would have somebody that recorded the whole trip. So like I went back, looked at my old tape. She was right. Like you have one person that records everything, even if it's boring, like someone's just walking around. But my VHS tapes from the 90s when I was a kid were like 3-4 hours long. So for this trip, I said, you know what? I got this little device and I got this thing that goes around my neck. I looked super silly, but I put it in there like a GoPro and I just hit play or hit record and just recorded everything. And I watched some of it on the way back and I was like, you know what? They're going to love this when they're older. These kids are going to love this. So it was really cool to get a piece of that excitement back. And so that's why that fortune cookie was incredible, because I'm finding that love and that joy going back to the family and really honing in on making that a priority. Plus, when shit hits the fan, you have to edit it out. Sorry, Tommy. When it does hit the fan, guess who's there? Guess who's there?
Yeah.
That's just
100%.
Thanks for sharing, Christine. That's what it is for me. What about you, Tommy?
I will be at the beach soon with my family, so I'm very excited. It's one of 2 weeks. It's this week at the beach with my parents, and Christmas are the 2 weeks that I really spend with my parents, living far from home. Not too far, but far enough that a trip is not easy or just frequent. And so being able to disconnect and be with my parents for more than 24 hours is a blessing for sure. And it always brings me happiness because it's always the same thing. It's always just relaxing, no pressure. We try our best not to do any real plans besides being with each other and going to the beach, and get a lot of reading done, and disconnecting is easier there than at home, obviously. But yeah, it's a special week coming up for me and looking forward to, because yeah, I think we all hit that fortune cookie pretty well with family.
Yeah, you're good at disconnecting too. You've helped me with that. I'll tell you that much.
You're welcome. But let's dive into the broker buzz with our first question of the week. Hi, team. I have a unique situation. 1, borrower self-employed. 2, only has 1 year of tax returns. 3, never filed tax returns previously. Worked under the table, cash jobs, never had a social security nor ITIN. Number 4, looking to purchase a primary residence. DSCR won't work. Any ideas? Thank you.
Okay. So there's a few components here. The first piece of this is, you said they just filed returns, never filed before that. So do they have a social security number now or an ITIN now? If so, what happened and why didn't they have it? What happened prior? Because you're asking somebody to give money, right? And I know you know this, so please understand, I'm not pointing the finger at you. We appreciate and love the question. I'm simply saying it's important you flip the questions back on the client sometime. So the investors are going to ask, right? Like, is this a safe investment? They just filed returns. Is the 1 year returns that are filed, is there even enough money on there that showcases on the 1 year returns? In this case here, it is going to be very difficult to find somebody to do the lending on, especially if now they are a citizen, they're filing taxes some shape, way, or form. So I'm not sure, but this is one where the juice might not be worth the squeeze just based off what I'm reading. Obviously, there's more context, but you gotta. One of the most difficult things to do is to tell somebody no that is very likable and that you really want to help. I'm not saying that's this person at all, but it's important you navigate that process as quickly as you can, do your due diligence as quickly as you can, and then professionally move on as quickly as you can, or set a professional follow-up as well. But this one, to me, I don't see anything there at all. Christine, not sure if you saw anything different
No.
on that one that I don't.
The first thing that I thought of was I wish I had a time machine because we put them back into a period where we had Nina loans. I did a ton of those.
Back in 08, yeah.
You just had to breathe. You didn't need to have any, anything. Good credit scores. I thought the same thing as you about the initial questions with the do they have the ITIN now? This is a case of, I look at career. I always ask loan originators, are you doing this for the rest of your life? And they're like, well, I don't know. Are you doing it for a career? If the answer to that is yes, then everything that you're working on and everybody that you'll touch that can't do a loan now will be a future client. And it's kind of like farming. I feel like every day when you're working leads, it's like farming. Some you're going to stick in the ground and it's going to immediately, have reciprocity and it's going to bloom tomorrow. And you're going to be able to pick it the next day. Those are your refis. Purchases have a longer, period of gardening, if you will. But right now, to me, this speaks to tell them what they need to do to get there, and then nurture it and stay in front of it. Our purchase time is even taking longer right now. And I'm telling originators to, you cannot set it and forget it in your CRM right now. Like the people are getting stuff in the mail, like competition. I always say your realtors are going to cheat on you. You know why? Because everybody's courting them right now. Now's not the time to believe that your realtors are going to just stay with you because everybody's showing up and they're trying to get them from you. So everybody's going to be uber vigilant. You got to think about the future. This would be a deal that I would coach them into what they would need to do after I got all those questions answered. I would put them in my CRM. I would keep them close and I would walk the walk until they could do a loan. And I would do that loan in the future.
Thank you. I love that. That's a great additional 2.0 sales tip there of the nurturing side of it, which is a whole nother beast within itself. Thank you.
Yeah. And our next question, options. I have a client who is a bartender at a hole-in-the-wall bar. She doesn't report any of her tips, but she deposits them all cash every week. Is there any option out there for her? Initially thought was bank statement, but she's technically not self-employed.
So I bartended for years, was in the restaurant industry for years. And, we get cash tips and sometimes you miscount and things happen as you're filing. But in this case here, you are correct. There isn't a path forward on this. If they're not claiming it, the IRS is going to look at it. Obviously, bank statement is not going to work here. You don't even want to really dabble into the bank statement W-2 side of things either, just from my opinion, just the complexity of it and the potential buyback on something like that is a really big deal. So, nope, they are going to have to either, make more money from a tip standpoint and file it accordingly, or they're going to have to wait, find a cosigner, take it from there. But Christine, not sure if you see anything on that one.
No, I mean, so many jobs like that fall under the umbrella. And by the way, so many people are in those types of jobs these days because of the economy. I can think of 4 or 5, and I won't describe, everybody knows what they are, but they're just that tip land, that you live in. And I always say this, I'm just going to say this. So I mirror exactly what you say. But when I'm talking to clients, what I tell them is that you can't win in 2 categories in life when it comes to income and taxes. And what you don't show, we all want to save taxes with the IRS, but what we don't show later becomes our nightmare when we're trying to qualify for things like mortgages and so on and so forth. So we have to decide, our jobs, our verifiable income, and whether we're, what our future holds. I think a lot of people are just living and they're not, young people especially, and it's prevalent. Those jobs are prevalent. I had those jobs. And they're not always thinking about the future. That's another reason for all of us to be doing home buying seminars. That's another reason for all of us to be educating and putting tips out on our social media about what you do need to do to prepare for that. This is true also for people that are self-employed that just, do heavy expenses and they bring themselves down to losses or net zero. What is your future want to buy that will require verifiable income? And is it worth the savings that you're getting right now in your taxes or the type of job you have? You're going to need to move yourself into a place where you have verifiable income if you are 2 to 3 years away from purchasing.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was delivering pizza in college, and my dad made it very clear that I was to deposit the cash and make a note of how much it was, so that when I paid my taxes, that I had all of it right there.
Just in case.
Absolutely. And so for our next question, I have a VA surviving spouse client who needs to do a VA cash out. She can only qualify for VA because of DTI. Property is currently owned and free and clear, and I know we need a lien on the property to do a VA cash out. What's the quickest, easiest way to put a lien on the property?
Okay. So here's what I've heard. Okay. I've heard you do two things. Number one, see if they can get a quick home equity line of credit. So that's the easiest path, right? One of those quick 5-day turnaround home equities. If they can't do that, somebody once told me you could look into like a mechanic's lien, and that's all I'm going to say. That's just something I was told. And you could look into both those things. So I'm going to leave it there, Tommy, not say any more past that.
Sounds like a plan. Let's move on to our final question for the week. I have a client who is retiring in 3 days. She has over 800,000 in assets in her 401k and TSP accounts, but the underwriter asks for an award first, but she can get one until 30 days after retirement. I submitted a disbursement she did for 1 month to see if that would take. Does anyone have a suggestion? Because I believe I will have to keep escalating it. Just don't understand. She has worked for 38 years and this to be a question.
She's worked for 30. Okay. So, couple things here. Number one, is the client of retirement age allowed to draw? Okay, that's the first thing. And the answer could be yes in this situation here. But if they've been in the space, 38 years and they started at 20 years old, they would not be of retirement age in this instance, right? So that could be part of the reason why they're asking for that award. If they are of retirement age, then yes, I would definitely push back a little bit. But the thing that I am a little confused on here when you're going through the accounts is are those accounts, are they combining them? Is it different withdrawal from each account? Is it all combined under one brokerage account? I would be curious, even for me, right? And again, we don't have all the context, but that's something that I would like to know as well. And even from an underwriter standpoint, they're going to want to verify that too. Because if they run out of that money, is that it? Like, are they done after that? Not saying they don't qualify. They do definitely qualify. But I think there's an additional reason why the underwriter is asking for that additional documentation. Without knowing all of the context, it's even triggering me to ask these additional questions to you. So they are under age of retirement. I definitely see why the underwriter is going to want something. If they're of age of retirement, then just understand how the money's being allocated accordingly based on the accounts and see what's being leveraged from that standpoint. So that's what I got on that. It's a little bit more complicated, but it is resolvable in this instance.
Absolutely. Well,
Yeah, and go ahead.
Sorry, Christine, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Christine.
No, I would just add that remember that income is not logical. It needs to have a continuance. So if you just tell yourself that as an originator, you're always going to understand the underwriter's conditions, because it's not enough. I worked in the greater Boston area in my origination career, and we had a lot of affluent people. I had guys that had $2, $3, $4 million in the bank in different ways, bonded, invested. Like, I worked with an affluent client, and a lot of their money was non-liquid, and the rules that we had to show provability with down payments and all that seemed acidine to me, because we could produce statements saying they had this money. And in my little young self mind, not having come from money like that at all, I'm like, what more could they want? They were buying houses that they could buy 4 or 5 times over in cash. And that logically made sense. But as I said, income is not logical.
Yeah.
You have to have a continuance. So don't use logic as your reasoning for what is required for investors. They want to know this money's going to come. It is going to keep coming. That's their security against lending, period.
Absolutely. Well, if you want your question answered here on the Broker Power Up podcast, be sure to be in the Brokers Are Best Facebook group and use the hashtag Broker Power Up when you post your question, and I'll be sure to look out for it and add it here on the podcast. And we're going to take a quick break for an ad, and we will be right back with Sales and Story with Christine. Be right back.
Fuse 2026 touches down in Austin, Texas from September 24th through the 26th, and this will be the biggest one yet. We are bringing the independent mortgage community together for 3 days of connection, strategy, and real solutions that are tangible and easy to implement that day. As always, Fuse is an event built for brokers by brokers, and this year's main stage is stacked with some of the biggest names and sharpest minds, both from within and beyond the mortgage industry. Not to mention the VA Summit and the incredible WMN Summit. Denim and diamonds this year for WMN, plus dozens of breakout sessions and an exhibit hall packed with partners passionate about pushing the industry forward. And you heard it right. We are giving away a truck. Yes, iced by Cake, live on the main stage this year. And the best part, every single AIME member has a chance to take it home. If you aren't a member, sign up today to claim your Fuse ticket included with your membership. Annual plans start at $199 per year. Scan the QR code to learn more. We'll see you in Austin. Tommy.
Yes.
Wow.
Right?
I love it.
Debut of the new Fuse ad.
All right, y'all. We're back. So sales and story time. And I've gotten to know Christine now over my last couple of years at AIME. She's one of the first human beings to proactively reach out to me. And for those that don't know, not many people were reaching out to me when I first got launched. It was quite an undertaking. Loved every minute of it. Definitely builds character and put us in the position we're in today. But she reached out, just providing guidance, providing leadership. And it was helpful at the time. And I was trying to figure out, I said, okay, one, thank you, but two, why? So I was trying to figure out more and more. And then as the years passed, I started to realize who she was as a human being. This person pours her heart and soul into everything that she does. She loves ferociously, and she doesn't hold her tongue back. She gives you the truth, whether you like it or not, because it is what we all need to hear. We need to hear the truth, and you need people in your corner that don't have any kind of bias towards it. There's no value for her to be helping me, benefiting. There's nothing for her from that standpoint. She's been in the industry. She's seen people like me come and go, yet she constantly reaches out. And on top of that, I've gotten to learn about her life and her personal stories. And you guys heard some of them, some of the tragedy. And the thing about her is she constantly takes tragedy and shapes them into a lesson and never dwells on them and always shares and gives back. She is an author. She is a CEO. She is a broker. She is in the trenches. She is a mother. She does it all. And today she is here to share a story and some sales skills about her journey of adapting and getting into this space. So Christine, the floor is yours, my friend.
All right. I love that intro. By the way, the reason I reached out is you didn't deserve that. You just didn't deserve to be welcomed that way. I'm a true believer that when people step into leadership, number one, it's a calling. Typically, I wanted to learn for you what was behind your desire to lead. So I had an interest in that. And I'll get into my story, but I thought it was important to know I was embarrassed by the commentary. I was embarrassed to see grown adults in our profession and field that would do, and make the comments that were being made. You were strong, you were young, and extremely formidable and ready for this position at that time. And you've grown into it beautifully. So my heart has always been, I'm not an ass kisser. I'll start there. We don't have to edit that because I think that's a true factual word. I just am a person that, I drive by principle. I stay focused, on one thing, and that is, what is our mission? And when I get on a mission, I totally get on that mission, extremely hard. And so, what I want to say is that my story is, how did I started in this business by being a teller on a credit union teller line when I was 18 years old. And I was the last girl on the line. There were 8 people. I had the least amount of tenure, but every time someone would come up with their coupon book and they had the last coupon in the book, they had to get something called an actuated payoff. And it required a special calculator, and it wasn't simple. It wasn't a simple interest loan that you could just multiply days of interest. It would always end up with a weird payoff. And all the tellers didn't know how to do it. They always had to rely on the head teller. Well, that annoyed me immediately in that position. And I did that like twice, asked for help. And then the third time I said, teach me how to do that. And they were reluctant. The leadership was reluctant to give that authority away or teach me. But as that head teller stayed busy, she would lean on me, and she saw the benefit in having one other person know. And because I showed an interest, she taught me. That would then make the other 7 tellers be beholden to me on the teller line for that. And that would open doors for me to get promoted to become a loan officer assistant to a high producing loan officer, female, Italian lady, strong. And the rest is kind of history, because underneath that, within a year, I was off the teller line. I was over in loans. I was loan officer assisting. I was going to college for sports medicine and nutrition. And I got the bug. I just got the bug. But let me just tell you, like, my message is about adaptability. I find that the people that are thriving right now in this market are the people that figured this market out. And I want to give it to everybody. I think that it 100%, it has been difficult. Like October 2022, rates go up. Your pipeline isn't locked. Your FUBAR, right? You're sitting there like, what do I do? I had hundreds of people here that were like, what do we do? What do we do? And of course, when it instantly happens the first time, you're waiting the market out. You're like hoping for the rate to return. We probably spent 6 months. Everybody spent 6 months looking in the rearview mirror. If you go back in January 23, I was telling people then, these rates are here to stay. The sooner you let go of your losses, cut your losses, and start marketing to the people that need you, the better. But I understand there was an incubation period for the consumer. We are way down that road now. You know, the average homeowner holds their notes like 32, 36 months. And now we're at like 42 months and beyond. They have high debt, they have low cash, but they've got equity. And the good mortgage loan officers are marketing to that pain point right now. And it's getting easier and easier to have immediate reciprocity in your production when you target that part of your business. Also, realtors aren't referring as much, so you got to go broader there. But adaptability, change. Get a guy that's relied on realtor referrals for 20 years, and it's been enough. And now that's dried up some, and the market's changed there. And put him back on the road the way he began 20 years ago. Because when I went on the road, when I finally decided to become a loan officer, I mean, mind you, we were scrolling mortgage notes in a typewriter on carbon copied paper, and you couldn't white it out. You know, like if you messed it up, you had to rip it apart and do another one. The evolution I've seen in 40 years is not minor. Jason Frazier always craps on people. And I've seen whole posts, Andrew Cady, about people that, you know, call out people that say how long they've been here. Our grandparents do this. Well, back in the day, and they tell the story. But I'm going to tell you something, having lost my sister, who was 2 years older than me, who fought for her life, who wanted to live. You ride alongside of that. And suddenly your mindset about what is a gift. What is a gift? Today is a gift. Today is a gift. It's not promised. There are people today in America and in this world that are facing tragedy, that aren't going to eat dinner tonight, whose homes are going to burn down or something horrible is going to happen. They're going to get the dreaded call about a child. They're going to lose an ailing parent. And I point this stuff out to you because it's a rite of passage for me to sit here still serving in the industry, which I plan to continue to serve for a very long time, and tell you that my survival has been adaptability. I have not left this industry for one day other than my honeymoon and my vacations when I was 25 years old. I've never left. I've been in every market, every declining market, every increasing market. I've gone through every bust. I've returned with every boom. I've obviously seen patterns. I have wisdom, but I have also had to lead into the unknown. In 08 and 09, I did not know where it was going. And I had to get up in the morning and convince everybody to follow me, not knowing where we were going. And all they followed me on is the faith that I would lead them to the right place and I'd figure it out. That's all the faith they had, is she'll figure it out. And when she does, I'm going to be on that train. My boyfriend is an example of that. I have been with my boyfriend for 20 years. We worked together 7 years prior to us starting to date. And I gave him his first job out of college when he became an originator. And then I got word within 3 months of giving him that job that I had to go close his branch down. This is a great ending to this story. And I would go out there. I'd just been out there to meet the whole team in Southington, Connecticut. And now they were like, we're going to consolidate all the branches and we're going to bring them into the hubs, into the, call centers when we wanted, the Wolf of Wall Street floors, right? And I went out there and had to shut it down. But I offered them all a job in Burlington, which was a solid 3 hours away. He was young. He had no family ties, no children. And he said, you know what? I'll come. I'll get an apartment. Well, 4 of the 8 guys that were there decided that they would also come and sleep on his couch and in his spare bedroom and on the floor Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because back then we didn't work from home. And I was going to let them work from home on Fridays, which essentially meant they weren't working, by the way, and legitimately came up through the ranks. Corey, I gave him his job. And when we got to the point where I could no longer originate because it was a conflict of interest, I handed him the branch that I had built. He followed me from H&R Block Mortgage because I told him, let's go to this other brokerage and just take Safe Haven in 06 and 07. When I shut down 2,500 people, he was one of the 2,500 people that were out of job, including myself. And so he was one of the 52 original loan officers that came with me, still not dating him, and said, okay, tell me where to go. And we go there. He's still there. He's still in the exact same seat that I put him in 20 years ago. I said, this is the place. This is the place you need to go. All the other guys, tons of other guys, still there. That branch is still one of the top 3 branches in the country for Annie Mac Home Mortgage today, 20 years later. And so I tell you this not to brag. I tell you that evolution is about adaptability. It's about change. It's about your ability to pivot. It means breaking habits. It means doing things you don't like to do. It means showing up. And I'm going to tell you the biggest problem I see with origination, and this is kind of the point of all my story, is that when you stand on the kind of the cusp of that change and you resist it because you're waiting for familiarity, you're dying a little in that spot. You're stuck. I'm a person that wants to move my sailboat in the direction of the wind. And I don't want to stay where it's windless. And so, I laugh, but a whole article was written about me when I was 27 because I was one of the first people to receive a laptop at Bank of America when they first came out, and we were getting rid of our big clunky desktops. And the mobility that it gave us was insane. We had sat at our desks as loan officers, and now we were able to go out on the street and do our loans on the street. It was like mind-blowing evolution. Like we were like, whoa, like I can do this from here. Wherever it was. So I'll just end on that. I'll just end by saying, when I reflect, and Jason Fraser, you can stuff it. Andrew Katie, I don't care if you make a whole post about people that are bragging about what they are or have not been. And I get it. Like, I get that sometimes people want to kind of look under the hood when we brag about how long we've been here, and what we've done. And so I don't know. I just think that right now this industry needs to hear this message. And that's like, if we're going to survive, if you're going to be one of the people to tell the story, if you're privileged, if you get the gift in 10 years to look back at this and we are all going, oh my God, remember, 26, remember how bad it was? If you're there, you're going to be there because you survived, and you're going to be there because you evolved.
The thing, Christine, thank you. The thing for me that stands out the most is you having to deliver bad news as often as you did throughout the years. Well, that's what, and I know Fraser and I, we joke about it all the time. And I understand too, like to your point, I also get that side of it big time. But the other part of it is that's shapes who you are today. And those like tough conversations, going through your journey, going through what you had to go through, that to me puts you in the position that you are today, where it doesn't matter what happens next because another tough conversation's coming. Like it is what it is. You're like, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Well,
There'll be
it's
money
not
made.
death.
No, it's not. Yeah.
Thank you for noticing that. I will say the first time I closed, when I literally was the last man standing at H&R Block Mortgage, which was the sister company to Option One, because I was the SVP of sales when we closed. And I had gone around the country for 6 months helping people build their resumes out, saying goodbye, opposite of building, by the way. When you build for 12 years and then you build this behemoth and it's making tons of money. By the way, like literally, I don't even know what it was. It was like probably 60 days after I turned my beeper in. I legitimately got a check for $156,000 in the mail. I so wanted to keep that check. I was like, this can't be right. We had just shut down the whole nation. But I had a clause in my contract, and it basically said if we closed in the black and there was profit, I was entitled to that. It was not my severance. My severance was a whole nother number that was beautiful, by the way. I think I got like 4 weeks for every year served. And they did me right on the way out. They did everybody right. H&R Block did. But we had to shut down the mortgage, national mortgage company, because we were traded on Wall Street as a Fortune 500 company. And in order to spare shareholder price to our investors, we had to close in the black. We were the biggest accounting firm in the world. And that's where I cut my teeth. That's where I learned this. That's why I follow the economics. And I'm so dialed into that because I believe the mortgage expert knows how to overcome market objections and things like that. So I will say, yes, that was really hard. It really sucked. It really sucked. And I thought then it was like the end of the world. But I've written about it so many times. I've talked about it since then, because it isn't until you're in these moments that we're in right now that like, what do I do now with more time because I'm doing less production? Well, you prospect, you prospect like your life depends on it. Like you just fill the hours. And I'm going to say this, momentum creates momentum. If you feel out of shape right now, I'm going to go to a science term, inertia. You watch a mouse run on a wheel. If he slows down, he falls down, right? You want momentum with sales, you have to be running. And I understand we're jogging and now we're walking. Well, now we're sitting and people are laying down. Why? Like, get up. Like, my number one goal every single day is to break a sales sweat. It's to break a sales sweat, because I know if I can't get there in the prospecting zone of my day, that I'm not going to have momentum. I'm not going to have passion. I'm not going to have iteration. I'm not going to be in the batter's box swinging and practicing so that when I get on the mound, I can hit a home run. That's basically what I think we need.
I love the passion. It's just easy to get you going, like once you get dialed into it, it really is. Well, the thing I'll touch base on, and please, you can close us out however you want.
Yeah.
But people at that level and that scale, right? Like the reason I sit on that is because everything else just does become a little bit easier when you learn to deal with something that big. And it also makes you understand, Christine, because like even when I talk to you now, so much things to you are like not a big deal. You're like, yeah, it's not a big deal, because it really isn't. You've had to, like, you did have to do that for a massive conglomerate. You did have to deal with all that. And so, yes, if something goes south on a loan, like, yeah, it's not good, but it's not detrimental. It's not, you shouldn't be crashing out and crying like, hey, I've seen you do it to people before, right? Get your shit together. All right. We're going to get through this. You're going to be fine, but here's what you got to do. So no, there is a lot that goes into that. It's not easy to build that kind of thick skin either, but also still maintain the grace that you have and the empathy that you have when you talk to others. So we appreciate you very, very much. Thank you for sharing your story. My friends, thank you all. This is another Broker Power Up. We will see y'all another next Monday after this one. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thanks for having me.